I've only ever had 2 jobs in my life. One is from age 15 to now. The other was when I was 6 years old at Disneyland. I was Christopher Robin in the Christmas Fantasy Parade.
Wow.
Hands up, heads down, shake it off, turn around. We're kicking dirt, we're gaining ground. We do it right, do it here right now.
All right. You ready?
Ready.
Alan Kacura, welcome to Super Trooper.
Hello. Good to see you, Scott Smith.
Lake Guntersville, Alabama. You are here. It is your second day
Yes.
in Guntersville.
It is.
We were driving over. I picked you up this morning, and you said that Alabama was a little different than you imagined. Comment.
Yeah, I mean, less alligators or crocodiles.
Right.
I've driven by a lot of houses. I haven't seen people sitting out with banjos.
Right.
So maybe that's just, I have a different picture of Alabama. But no, honestly, we were in Georgia for a few days before we drove out, and I've been surprised how green everything is here. It's just from California, where we don't really have a whole lot of grass in the yards and things. To see all of that here, it's been really cool.
Most people, when Val, aka Miss Hot Dog, started traveling, she said the same thing. By the way, she made the banjo joke. She made the swamp joke. So I think it's real. I think when people think of Alabama, they really think it's like swampy, flat. And they don't realize the northern half of the state, anyway, is very mountainous is a stretch, but very hilly, very green, very lush, like jungly almost.
Yeah.
All right, Alan Kacura, Intrepid of California.
Yes.
I always say there's 3 Intrepids, and I always somehow said the wrong one. It's going to be a wide-ranging conversation. This is the first Super Trooper we have done. Britt, do you even know when the last one we did was?
Last year.
It's been months and months.
It's been a while. Okay.
6 months, 7 months.
We're breaking it back out.
No pressure.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Most of the pressure's on me anyway. All right, so tell everybody a little bit about yourself. Where do you live now?
I live in sunny Carlsbad, California, which is a kind of suburb of San Diego County.
Right. It's literally maybe the best weather in the world.
Yeah. Have I told you why we picked Carlsbad? We just moved there a few years ago.
Maybe. Remind me.
Yeah. So COVID shut down in 2020. We shut the office down. We work remote now. And we started to have staff kind of move back and forth, move outside of the state. And it was springtime, I guess, like kind of winter 2020, 2021, going into 2021. And it was actually, there was a $1 billion lottery going on. And so I was just talking with Lauren, my wife, and I'm like, just kind of, how fun would it be? Like, where would we move if we won the lottery?
Right.
And both of us instantly were like, we'd probably just move to Carlsbad and get a house on the beach, which was only like an hour south of where we were. Now, we don't live on the beach in Carlsbad, but we're like, well, geez, if I'm not going to the office every day and we can live everywhere, we're about an hour closer to her family now. Okay. So we cut that drive over halfway. We love Orange County, but I really think San Diego County fits home for us. So it's kind of how we ended up there.
It really is. And I've always said, and Val said too, if our family, it really comes down to the kids.
Yes.
The kids, all of our kids. Well, Jack's in Denver, but the rest of the all 3 other kids are in the Southeast. I mean, it's so beautiful, man. I mean, you do have the taxation issue.
Yeah, it's still California. It's
you know what? None of the other stuff bothers me about California that bothers some people.
Yeah,
it's just expensive. But you grew up in California?
I did.
Now, where did you grow up?
So I grew up in a city called Corona, which is in what we refer to as Riverside, California.
Okay.
So, my roots, maybe they're not quite Alabama, but we grew up very, very humbly. And the area where I'm from, the Inland Empire, it's a lot of cow farm, a lot of pastures. So it's very, very different than where we live now.
Now, say the name of the city.
Corona.
Corona, with an N, like the beer.
Like the beer.
Okay.
Yep.
Where exactly is that? Because I get my...
It is, so there's, in Southern California, there's Los Angeles County, Orange County. Just east of Orange County is Riverside County. Okay. So I was in Riverside County.
Okay. I will bet you, we just met Dustin at the coffee shop. I'll bet you if you talk about where you grew up, you might have even grown up around each other.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we might have.
And Dustin's probably 42, 44.
Okay.
We'll have to see where he grew up. By the way, I'm talking about the coffee shop next door to us.
Yes.
Right now in the
Great,
studio.
it's a great latte.
Yeah. So let's go back. So tell me about your family growing up. Mom, dad, siblings.
Yeah. So, mom, raised by my mom. I have two sisters. Single mom, she raised three kids. My sisters are 4 years older and 6 years older than me.
Baby boy.
And my parents they actually got divorced right when I was born. So my mom, it's something that I don't think you can really appreciate till you have your own kids.
Indeed.
How much she sacrificed. And the weird thing is, honestly, I didn't really understand what life would be different like. We grew up, like I said, we grew up pretty poor. But we didn't really know it. So like my oldest sister, Jamie, and I talk about it I was just seeing her a few days ago, and like, oh yeah, remember how we used to have like these like campouts in our house? Like, oh yeah, I guess like those, like the power was out.
Yeah.
But it was, we did everything we could. And I think it just instilled some trying to appreciate what you have, and appreciate what life can be. But I didn't feel that way.
Yeah.
I never felt different than anybody else. And maybe that was because in Corona where we were, that kind of was the norm more so. But it's just, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, that's so. I mean, of course, I've talked a lot of words in the past 10 years of True, but very similar. My parents got divorced when I was probably 9 months old. She remarried, and who I consider my dad legally adopted me. We were very poor, but I've said it many times. Like, I had no idea.
Yeah.
I found out in 6th grade I was poor.
Yeah, it was the same age for me too, because my like I said, my dad was not really involved. He was an alcoholic. He died when I was 17. There were some spurts where he tried to become more involved, and demons just got him.
Yeah.
So I never really grew up with him as like a fatherly figure. But Dan Templin, my partner in the business, his I guess actually stepdad, but his dad, Tim Templin, my mom joined Northwestern, which I'm sure we'll probably kind of get into that some stuff. But when she joined, I was only, I think, 5 or 6 years old. So from age 5 to about age 10, Tim was kind of like a fatherly figure to me until he passed away.
Right.
And when he did, I actually moved in with Pam, Dan's mom. I lived with her for my 6th grade. That was when I moved from Riverside County to Orange County. And so my life really, that was when I learned kind of what some different parts of the world were like, or different parts of the area were like.
So many commonalities when you sit and talk to people, when you really get time to talk to people. Because, I mean, my dad was an alcoholic too, and the demons got him at the end. I mean, he passed when I was older, like, let's see, Madeline was a baby, 30 maybe.
Yeah.
So we've had relatively some commonality in the backgrounds. You way out in California and me right here in Alabama. It's interesting that 6th grade kind of time. So you're what, like 12?
I think I was 11 when I moved out of my house, and I moved in with Pam. I lived with her for a year, and then I wound up moving back with my mom. Right. And then 2 years later, we all moved back. But yeah.
This is going to be, by the way, we're going to go in so many different directions here.
Sure.
So you moved in and with Dan.
So Dan was actually in college.
Dan was in college.
So Dan, he was in like graduate school maybe.
Okay.
We have a 15-year age difference.
I didn't realize that was that much.
Yeah.
So don't be offended by this. I forget that you're actually
I'm 37.
fairly young.
Yeah, actually I'll be 37 next month.
Right. It's crazy we've known each other so long.
Yeah. I started when I was 15.
Right.
Literally.
Right.
I had 22 years on July 1st. So people are like, 22 years? Like what? Like you started your baby when you started? And, oh yeah.
Part of me wanted like Dan to be like 3 years older because I wanted to know what he was like at that age.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I can tell you about Dan in like graduate school or in college.
We'll get to there. I can't wait to hear this. So to set the stage for people who might not know, because if you're with us here,
yes,
this really is a podcast for our network. If someone stumbles in, like I'm not going to cover background, all the context. But so, you know what? Let's just stay chronological for right now because I think it weaves a good story. So, what were you like at that age, at that 11, 12-year-old age?
At that 11, 12-year-old age, I I was just fun. I tried to be just funny, tried to be fun. I danced. Both my sisters were in the dance studio. So being the boy, always getting lugged around, I was so that was 11, 12 was kind of the end of my dancing years.
Yeah.
I peaked probably about age 8, 9. If you've seen me at any of the tree events after, I like to have fun, but it's not quite as coordinated as it used to be.
Oh, now we need a choreographed dance from you at some point.
I've only ever had 2 jobs in my life. One is from age 15 to now. The other was when I was 6 years old at Disneyland. I was Christopher Robin in the Christmas Fantasy Parade.
Wow. Wow.
From Thanksgiving to Christmas. I did it for 2 seasons.
By the way, what percentage of people do you think are listening who have no idea who Christopher Robin is?
Wow, I would hope probably a lot.
I'm guessing half the people don't know.
Do you know who Christopher Robin is?
I really sort of had this attachment to Christopher Robin when I was little.
Okay.
I just, for some reason, when I would read the Winnie the Pooh stuff.
Winnie the Pooh, yeah.
I was like, I wanted to be Christopher Robin as a little kid because I was just nerdy, kind of bookworm little kid. But when you wait till you get older, and you're like, wait, you don't know what that is?
You don't know what that is?
Yeah. So do you remember that? Do you remember?
I do, yeah. I remember the 1997 Christmas Fantasy Parade. If you look on YouTube, you can see the VCR, the video recording of it, and I'm in whoever bootlegged it from that year. You can see the little kid in the blue and white outfit we called them the Coca-Cola bear shoes. I had little white polar bear shoes that I danced around in.
We're going to have to go in the archives and find this. Put it in the show notes, send it out with a recording, Britt. Yep. So you're post 12.
Post 12.
Let's get into like 14, 15, 16.
Yeah. My rebel years.
I want to hear about those.
Me, such a rebel.
I know.
So 14, 15, probably pretty boring. I got my first car was a lifted used Toyota Tacoma that had, it was the loudest lifted.
Okay.
I'm not a tall guy. I don't know. It was a phase.
Yeah.
I used to spike my hair up.
Oh man.
It was fun times, but it was so loud. And I put the subwoofer. It had the half cab in the back seats.
Yeah.
But instead of the half cab, I had 2 giant subwoofers in there.
So what was thumping on a regular basis around this age?
Well, there was a lot. Gosh, this is 2000. This was like 2004, 2006.
Okay.
So when I was in my rock, it would be a lot of Weezer.
Oh yeah.
Sublime. So Dan got me into Sublime.
Okay.
So a lot of Sublime, a lot of Weezer, a lot of Green Day type music.
Yep.
And then Foo Fighters for sure. Or if I really wanted to hear the subwoofer, then I'd get into some of the rap, R&B stuff, hip hop.
I really want to transport myself back in time and just be on the street corner and watch you roll by.
Yeah.
With your spiky hair and your lifted Tacoma truck, knowing you now.
I used to wake my friend up. Yeah. His alarm every morning was me driving by his house for high school.
That
funny. Was how he knew he needed to get up.
And where'd you go to high school?
I went to high school in Villa Park, which is a little city within the city of Orange in California. I went to Villa Park High School.
Okay. And what was that high school like? What was the vibe of a?
It's a pretty waspy school.
Okay.
That little area, Villa Park, is it's very not super diverse.
Right.
So it was good. I mean, I was in French club. I took French instead of. That's all I know. I was president of the French club actually, and we had a field trip where we went up to the mountains for a weekend, and all you could speak was French. This was my 3rd year, and I mostly got through that because of my friends.
Right.
I know very little French, and I knew very little French. So I didn't talk that whole weekend because
Nothing.
I couldn't really hear them. I couldn't understand them.
So were you Elaine? Did you have a French name?
Yeah, Elaine.
So I took 2 years of French in high school. Also know nothing.
Okay, good.
Except this would not surprise you. So we were going around. We had to pick names. And we were going around the room, and everybody was picking their name, and it got to me, and I was like, and Miss Long, who still lives in town somewhere, she's okay, Scott, what's your name? I said, Jerome. She's like, it is Jerome. I'm like, I'm going to go by Jerome, Miss Long. So I thought it was funny in high school, too.
Yes.
But I still, Val and I have done a fair amount. We're trying to catch up on international travel because I did done when I was younger. And we've been to Italy a couple of times, in Spain. And the whole family now, including our kids, everybody wants to learn a foreign language. And the most practical one to learn is Spanish.
It
right?
is. Yep.
But I want to learn Italian. And I think I'm holding the group back because I think if I were to go all and say, okay, we're all learning Spanish and we're going to learn together, I actually think we would do it. But as I been dabbling in trying to learn a little bit of languages when we're traveling, I realized that like I have at least somewhat of a knowledge of French. I don't remember much, but like I remember words and phrases and things. Yeah. And there's a surprisingly number of like French words and sayings that we say every day in English. But I don't need to learn French, but that would be the easiest.
Yeah.
Do you know Spanish or anything?
Well, I know enough Spanish just being in California.
Yeah.
You know, it's I poquito. I know a little bit of Spanish, but I feel like I can understand a bit. And a lot of the Spanish and French, a lot of the words are similar enough that in context you can kind of figure it out. But we get a lot of Spanish. And,
Okay, we're gonna jump back in high school.
Okay.
You're in high school. Your senior year of high school. It's usually a big year for the development of what's senior you like? Are you still rolling is your lifted Tacoma still in the driveway?
Lifted Tacoma, yeah. That was with me all the way through the first couple years of college. So, when I first met Lauren, I still had that Tacoma. So she likes to laugh at me about that. She remembers it. No, senior year was it was trying to get more serious. I worked throughout high school, started sophomore year of high school. So I say like my rebel years, but honestly, what was I known for in high school? Like I was that kid who worked. Yeah. So it was pretty boring.
Yeah.
I kind of floated around with friend groups and things. Senior year was just kind of getting ready. I knew at that point that I wanted to go into business. I wanted to get some sort of degree. I wanted to be an entrepreneur, do something. So I was pretty focused on that already.
I'm always curious about the development of people. For those of you who don't know Alan, he's one of the smartest people in our industry. Yeah. For a long time, Val was even talking to Adrian Jansen and Joey Jansen. Their family are in town. I was overhearing them at the boathouse one of the days this week. And I heard her saying, oh yeah, Alan was like the person where like when something new came out, like if Employee Navigator did something new, there was some kind of new legislation. Even, we all did this, formed this new company called Patriot together. Like anytime some tax thing comes out, everybody's like, call Alan and get him to explain it to us. So obviously very smart guy, but what was it, do you think, that when you were in your formative years, you're like, I know I'm going to start a business, be an entrepreneur or something? What were the things that maybe led you down that path?
I haven't really reflected very much on that. I would say what I've always kind of had to drive to try and kind of bring things together. I'm not like an engineer I don't use my hands, engineer wise, but I like to, whether it's computer programs or learning different services, different people, different technologies, and putting it all together. So I've always kind of had a knack for liking to, okay, you have this commonality, you have this commonality, let's bring it together. So I've always, I think that's probably what drove it, even like from a young age, like the old, my friend and I, we had our lawn mowing company, 5 years old, like that kind of thing.
Right.
Now, I didn't really, I already knew to be an entrepreneur because my job was to go sign people up and then he had to go mow the lawns.
He had to go do the work.
And we split the money. So sorry, Bobby. But it's
Bobby still, is Bobby still around?
Oh yeah, Bobby's still around. So my mom is in touch with every single one of my friends from ever. So she could tell you his whole life story.
Okay.
I just know he's still around, and every few years I hear an update from my mom about Bobby.
Perfect. Where'd you go? Did you go to college?
I did go to college. Yeah. I went to Chapman University in Orange County, in the city of Orange. It is, it was a commuter school. So not a lot of people lived on campus, but it changed a lot. And while I was there, it was kind of when it was going through its transformation. And it's one of the better business schools, I would say, kind of on the West Coast. It's really known for its film school, which I was not a part of, but that was, Lauren was in the film school, and that was how we met.
We're going to get into that. I want to make sure I cover Lauren, your mom, Dan, some other stuff I want to make sure we cover. I have to make at least one Matrix reference every episode. So the fact that you and I both grew up pretty poor, parents divorced when we were under a year old, had an alcoholic father. And I went to my 7th grade middle school was called Chapman.
Okay.
So there's
Wow.
That's a Matrix moment-ish.
Chapman, there you go.
Maybe, I don't know.
I think so.
That's a stretch, but
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so let's go back.
Okay.
Because I do think your work history is interesting. So give the context on how you start working at like 10 years old.
Yeah. So summer after freshman year of high school, my middle sister had just graduated. So I think it was just probably me and my mom at that point. But just looking to earn a few extra bucks. Hey, if I ever wanted to do anything in the, summer or whatever, like it was on my own. So I asked my mom, like, hey, is there something that we can do to, can I come help you out? Can I come file some papers or do some things? Right. And Pam, who was running the business, Dan's mom, it was very family, very inclusive business. So she's like, you should come work, come do some things. We'll find some things for you to do, So I started, the first things I did, really the first thing I did was file the enrollments and terminations for employees, fax them to insurance carriers, file them in our paper files, in our sorted X's A to Z, 1 through 31. And when are you going to look at, to make sure the insurance carrier got it? So I did a lot of admin work. And then that was kind of right when the ability to enroll online was just starting, like 2002, 2003, 2004. So the first work trip I ever did, I think I was 16 and it was with Benergy.
Oh yeah.
Which is still, I don't think they're around anymore, but, Ebix, the parent company is still around. So Benergy through Northwestern Mutual, and we were a part of, right? They were just starting their Benergy website. So I flew out to, Connecticut to learn how to build the Benergy websites along with, Pam and Barb, my mom.
Michael Weiskirk?
Michael Weiskirk, yes.
Is that the name?
Yes. Michael Weiskirk was the guy.
What year was this that you flew out there?
2004. 2005, maybe? I think 2004. I'm pretty sure I was 16.
So that just blows my mind. So we also share that we were both part of the Northwestern Mutual family.
Yes.
That's how we met originally. That might be the first year that I went to a Northwestern Mutual meeting. Because I started out, Northwestern Mutual of Alabama bought my tiny little, had like me, at that time I'd moved back to Alabama, no employees, it was me, I had this small block of group business, maybe 50 clients or so. And I'd met the SEBS specialist, as we called them back then, the person who was running the benefits department for Northwestern Mutual of Alabama. And I actually did a big enrollment for him, like a worksite enrollment. And we became friends. I became disenfranchised with worksite stuff because I think we enrolled a chicken plant is what happened.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was just like, and I became friends with Richie Salem, was his name. And he's like, you should partner with me. Like he wanted kind of a partner that was a dynamic salesperson because he was more operationally focused. And long story short, they basically, when I say they purchased my block, they gave me a little bit of money, but actually said, you could actually keep it and own it. Just come over here and help us run the sales department. Okay. Long story short. Then I was at a financial rep contract for 2 or 3 years because I was referring so much individual I was doing 401k work. And then at some point I had to be a specialist for some reasons.
Yeah.
And I think 2003-04 was about my first meeting with Northwestern Mutual, the sales department in Arizona. And Michael Weiskirk was there kind of launching our early days of this online enrollment platform.
Yeah.
And you were 16.
I was 16. I remember I was 16 because I had my license and we had gone out to do the training. And for whatever reason, I think my mom had to leave early or something. So or maybe there was an extra day. So I was there and I forget the girl's name right now who was kind of doing the training. And we were going back to the airport. She's like, I got to go to my flight. So can you just take the car back? Can you drive the car back to the car rental? And I was like, No, I'm not. First of all, I'm not 25. I'm not even 18. No. Yeah.
That's crazy. When's the first meet? When would we have met?
I was trying to think about that last night because I was kind of in the Orange County office, obviously for a long time, but my first Northwestern meeting, I went to the annual meeting in 2007.
Okay.
I've only been to one annual meeting with Northwestern. So
Okay.
that's the only time I did that. I never did any of like the SEBS specialist meetings. Dan or Barb. I don't call her mom. She
Yeah.
was Barb. Dan or Barb used to go to those. I didn't come to the first True Owners meeting.
No.
I think the first owners meeting I was at was San Antonio,
Okay.
which was I think 2017, 2018.
18. January 18th.
So obviously we've known each other for a long time. I don't know if we had. Well, I'm sure a true conference like a TLA would have been before 2018.
Yeah.
but it might have been the first TLA. It might have been the first time we actually met.
Which just seems like longer than that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still 8 years or so, but it just seems like, or maybe it's because we had heard your name from Dan so much.
And I think we had talked, we had like emailed, we had communicated, but I don't think I'd physically met you.
Right.
But yeah, I'm sure like communication wise, yeah, a long time.
Yeah. Man. Okay. So you're working early. You're probably working through college.
I worked through college. I got, when I was 18, I actually did my life insurance, my life and health license. That was my 18th birthday present. So my mom and so Barb actually she'd worked in the business already for like 10 years, 12 years. She never was licensed. She probably should have been licensed,
right.
but it's a little bit, she was supporting whatever. So we did our license test together. So our license numbers are like 8 digits apart. And when I was, at that point, I was 18. I was accustomed to taking tests.
Right.
She was not 18. She was not. And she was really nervous that she was going to fail the test and I was going to pass the test. Of course, I'm sure she did even, she probably aced it. She could have taught the course
right.
At that point. But at 18, I got licensed. I signed at Northwestern. I was a college agent, mostly because our managing partner, we needed numbers and
right.
Northwestern's
yeah.
on. So but I did, like, if you sell 10 lives in a year, like a life as a contract, you get this this award at annual meeting. So I hit the P10, I think it was P10.
Yeah.
Right. So I hit the P10. So I got to go to annual meeting. Got to do all that. Got to see Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Was the comedian that year. And I don't know if he went that year. It was like Sheryl Crow and Jerry Seinfeld.
I didn't go that year.
Zig Ziglar gave a inspirational speech.
Yeah.
It was cool.
They had really cool annual meetings.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, really cool. Now that I know event budgets,
Yeah, right.
I'm like, holy cow. Because, let's see, Hall & Oates played 1 year. Keith Urban played 1 year.
Yeah,
They had heavyweights would come. So I have to ask you about your mom, Barb.
Sure.
So tell me why. So when I think of Barb Kacura, like even right now, I find myself almost like tearing up a little bit with sort of a warmth and appreciation and love for her. And it's not like I've spent hours and hours and hours with Barb, but that's
just who she is.
What is it? Now, I'm sure that you had plenty of mom moments with your mom. We all have family members, but that's the way I just have this overwhelming feeling of love and gratitude towards her. And why? Why is that?
She is just the most positive and supportive person that I've ever met. And she's somebody who will like literally give you the shirt off of her back.
Yeah.
And in any sense, it doesn't need to be, she can be a total stranger and she'll make friends. Like now with my kids, with her grandkids, like she takes them to the park and like by the time they leave, like she knows the other parents, she knows their life story. It's just, It's just a personality. And you know what it is? You've actually talked a lot about asking good questions and being thoughtful and being inquisitive. That's, I think, one of her special powers is she asks really good questions and she listens.
Yeah.
And she remembers.
Boy, that keeps coming back in my life so much, Alan. Like the superpower of, you could say buzzwords like curiosity and listening and make it sound fancy. I think some people, it's probably just them.
Yeah.
But when I say it's so rare for someone to care enough about you, it's not like somebody that talks all the time doesn't care. But just for someone to ask questions and listen to you and make you feel important and remember.
Yeah.
And the only way you remember is if you're quiet and listen. It's so rare. So it's another good reminder to me of like how important it is.
Yeah.
It's so cool that she's that way.
I wish I was as good at that as she is. It's something that I'm working on. Like, being an active listener, I find myself sometimes, I'm trying to be better about it, but you're already, oh, you mentioned this. I'm going to put this in my, because I know I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to go here, and as soon as you're done, I'm going to bam. Oh, well, did you know, or this or that? And sometimes you can just.
It's natural, man.
Yeah.
Now that I've done a handful of sort of keynote presentations that are not true related or insurance related now, and they all revolve around mostly listening is a component of all of them if it's not the main topic.
Yeah.
So now I'm the worst because I pay attention to everything. And Val will, when we get together later today at our boathouse, you can confirm this with Val. I am so frustrated now when people talk over people. They're not listening. It's sometimes it is not intended.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of people who flat out do not listen at all. And I'm talking like really kind, good people. And I do think we can learn it a little bit. I've been doing this thing lately where it's just like, I have to ask 3 questions, right? So you have to be like, no matter what I'm talking to if I'm talking to Britt, when I walk into Britt's, I have to ask him at least 3 questions before I start on a declarative rant about anything.
I like that.
And what usually happens, if you're conscious about doing it, you'll ask more than 3 or 4 because it just becomes a flow.
Yeah, you start there. Yeah, I like that.
But gosh, I just have such a warm feeling of love for your mom.
Yeah, and she's she was the work mom for everybody in the company. She's like semi-retired now.
Yeah.
She's mostly retired now, but a year ago she took a big step back. She kept a few of her larger clients just to kind of keep kind of a hand in the business a little bit. And it was, we had our retirement party, and the staff, a lot of the team at Intrepid got up, and we had a dinner for her, and it was like just waterworks going.
I can imagine.
It was a really neat night, and I was really happy we were able to do that.
You mentioned earlier about you don't know something till you're a parent. When you become a parent, to know what a single mom has to do, and especially to do it for like a couple of decades, that's just it's an amount of work and dedication that it's hard to explain to someone.
Yeah, and it's like I love my sisters dearly, but neither of them had kids, so it's hard. It's just you can't understand it. Yeah, and they have their passions, of course, and it's not, and having kids isn't for everybody. Totally get that. I just think it's hard to understand. I can't, even Lauren and I with 2 kids. It's so much, and that's 2 people. That's one-on-one. We're playing one-on-one defense. We're not even playing zone.
One of my favorite quotes ever. I wish maybe I could do some research on this. This one is the quote that parenting is the hardest thing you'll ever do, but only if you care about it.
Yeah, I've stolen that from you a few times.
It's not hard if you don't care about it.
I know a lot of those people, right?
Yeah,
you see them.
But gosh, boy, listen, our kids are now 22, 23, 25, 26, 24, 26, 25, 26. It never stops, really. Yeah. I mean, there's been a couple of days in the past probably year or 2 where I'm like, I haven't talked to any of my kids in 2 days. It's very rare, but still it's like, I talk to a kid a day probably still.
Wow.
Maybe every other day is maybe fair. It's a lifelong endeavor. All right, let's stay on the love train.
Yeah.
So, did you meet Lauren in college?
I met Lauren in college.
So, this is one of my favorite questions. The first time your eyes locked, like the first time that was like, oh.
Well.
What was that moment?
So, that moment probably happened a little bit after we met.
That's fine.
Because we were friends for a couple of years.
Oh, okay. So
yeah. So the day we actually met was we were at a mutual friend's house, and her boyfriend, we were all playing a prank on him, actually. Oh. Where we were pretending like he was getting alcohol, but we were just brushing the rim. Okay. But it was just Coke. So it was like Jack and Coke, but it was just Coke. And Lauren was 1 year older than me. So, and a lot of her friends were like a year above her. So I was a freshman. There were a lot of like sophomores, juniors, even seniors there. So I was kind of just observing, and I was like the little.
By the way, your kids are probably listening to this. Are they okay hearing this story?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
all
No,
right.
it's just kind of a fun, kind
Okay.
of a funny story.
All right.
So we, yes. So we, so long story short, he has 3 or 4 drinks that are not drinks, and he starts acting kind of funny.
Oh.
So that was it. So, my first interaction meeting Lauren was like, gosh, like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Like, what's this boyfriend? We wound up becoming good friends, and actually we wound up being roommates, her boyfriend and I.
Oh, okay.
So we knew each other from my freshman year, my sophomore year, so her sophomore, her junior year, where we were friends. I actually dated her roommate,
Oh.
like very casually, but she was in a very serious relationship with my roommate. They broke up. I won't give you the whole long story,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
they broke up. A few months later is when I would say her and I probably started locking eyes.
Okay.
And I think enough time it was appropriate. It was different than controversial because it was like, well,
Oh, yeah.
it was, we lost a lot of friends over it, which is kind of a bummer. Right. But it's, we've been married 14 years. So It's
Yeah.
kind of like when So I will say though, that lock and eyes moment, it was actually at we're at the Orange County Fair. It's a big fair we do every year. It kind of goes from San Diego to Orange County to LA County. And we were there just as friends. But I remember like that whole night, like there was just a different feeling of like, okay, maybe this isn't like just a friend thing.
Yeah.
Maybe this could be more than a friend thing. And I can't tell you what flipped the switch, but we are, we're very similar. So
there were never. I mean, she's obviously very cute, but she was dating. There was never.
She was off limits. So I mean,
limits.
if she would have been on limit,
Yeah.
I mean, she loves sports. She's
Yeah.
got a great family. Like she's beautiful.
Yeah.
It was maybe a different order of that.
Yeah.
So my preferences were, but it was totally. But it was like that wasn't an
Right.
option, right? So I just think it wasn't.
Do you remember? Was there an ask out on a date moment? Was there just like, do you want to come over the next day? Like,
So we started hanging out that summer, and it was like we started hanging, and then like a few days in, we realized, wow, we've seen each other every day for like a week.
Oh.
So then it became a game of how we're going to see each other every day. And it like turned into, I don't know, probably like 45 days or so.
Right.
But we started kind of hanging out in summertime. We didn't start dating until September 20th.
Okay.
Because she was really playing hard to get. So we wound up like, I don't think we had our first kiss. Like it was, we really date. Like,
Oh,
so
you were like, had to woo her.
I had to really woo her. So I gave her this like keychain Eiffel Tower. And I handed it to her and I said, like, look, I know it's kind of been like, it's kind of weird how we're like hanging out, but we're not hanging out. So I know like, this is the sign. When you like, I just want you to know I'm ready. And whenever you're ready, you just give this Eiffel Tower back.
Oh, bro, that is so smooth.
That was how.
That is romantic and smooth. That is everything. We need to capture this moment. We need to recreate this moment somehow.
Well, she absolutely loathes anything public about like her. So I joked when I proposed in San Francisco, and I joked that if I had proposed to her at a Giants game, which we both hate the Giants, but we both love baseball, but we were going there for her anniversary. I'm like, if I would have proposed to you at the stadium, like on the Jumbotron, would you have said no? She's like 100%. I would have said no.
That would have been
She's
terrible.
like, you would have absolutely. She's like, I love you, but no, because that would have shown like you don't know who I am.
So do you remember the moment she gave it back to you? Was it the Eiffel Tower thing?
Yes, I do.
Was it? Did she throw it at you, or did she?
No, it was kind of a special. So I may be getting the timing a little bit mixed up here because actually I think maybe I gave that to her like in August.
Okay.
And it might have been September is when she gave it back to me. That might have been what it was.
What a romantic story.
Yeah.
And now 14 years,
So we dated 2 years.
16 years.
Yeah. 2008.
Okay.
Is when we started.
years.
Yeah. 17
Two
years.
kids.
2 kids.
Well, let's just go there. Now let's just stay on the love.
Yeah.
We've talked about kids a little bit. Tell me about your kids.
Yes. So we have a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old. Russell, my son, our son is 10, and then Leah, our daughter, is 7. We say we have like a cat and a dog. They're just their personalities.
Right.
You know, they're they're both, we love both of our kids, of course,
Yeah.
but they're so different. It's great. But they see the love that they have for each other is so fun. And now they're getting to a really fun age. The first few years, like when kids are toddlers,
Yeah.
you're just, it's fun and you love the kids, of course, but it's now to see their personalities come out. But Russell, he's actually named after Lauren's grandfather. His
Okay.
name's Russell, and I'm named after my mom's grandfather.
Oh.
So that was kind of how we
Yeah.
came up with the name. And with Leah, the name Leah isn't a family name, but her initials LJ. She's the 5th generation LJ
Oh, wow.
in her like family.
Do his friends call him Russ?
No, Russell. He does
Everything is
not
Russell.
want to be Russ. So
But that's gonna be hard to
it's going to
keep.
be really hard.
That's gonna be tough.
On the baseball diamond, he's Russ.
Yes.
Because like if you're playing, and even I shout at him, "Hey
Yeah.
Russ, do this, do that." But he really wants to be Russell. So when when he does something I don't like, I call him Rusty because that really gets under his skin. But he's like very has the emotional intelligence of like a severe adult.
Oh.
You'll meet him later this evening. He's a really special kid, and he's just very empathetic, very thoughtful. And Leah is 7, but man, she's gonna take over the world. You can just see her mind going in the back, and she likes to figure things out. She's very, very smart.
It's a really cool age. It's almost like you're still mom and dad. You still have really great status, but they are forming their own personality. They can be kind of funny.
Yep.
So note to self, Britt, we don't call him Russ unless we want to go to the bad side right
His
away.
bad side.
So tell me about Lauren now.
Yeah.
Give me just a quick synopsis of your lovely wife.
Yeah. So her background, or
I mean, what do you love about her?
Man, well, how long do we have? Yeah. She's just we're really truly partners, like soulmates. It's I don't know. There's this like a lot of theory about, well, what percentage of people marry or fall in love with like their high school sweetheart or somebody they meet at college. Like there's 7-8 billion people in the world.
Yeah.
Like, is it just because you're near someone or whatever? And I think that's total bullcrap.
Yeah.
I not to get too spiritual, right? But I just think like there's a reason why certain things happen and why you meet. Like we both ended up at Chapman, where like neither of us really were going to end up there, and how it all, and we're different years, and I think everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're very similar, but somehow it's still like the sum of the parts is great. The whole is better, greater than the sum. So she runs our household. She's people say like, oh, my spouse is the CEO of our house. Like that could not be more true in my house.
Right.
She knows where we're going, when we're going to be there. She's a type A planner, but we're all better for it. And she keeps us all in check. But she thinks about everybody. She's super sweet. She's very funny. She's very fun to be around. And she loves sports.
Yeah.
So, I really hit it out of the park.
When you say you guys love sports, she loves sports. Give me a ranking of the sports that you like.
So baseball is number 1. So she has she's a sister. So her dad is also like he's really a lover of sports, all sports, any type of sport, whatever. He'll get into it. So he ingrained that in both of his girls. So like Lauren, from a young age, she started keeping score at baseball games. So we've just started. Leah's now keeping score at baseball games. So when you're sitting there with a little girl who is asking, what the position numbers are and what's happening in the game, it's just something special. So baseball is number 1. San Diego Padres now we've kind of converted.
Oh, you converted?
Well, I still love the Angels.
Okay.
Like the Angels haven't had a winning season since Russell has been alive.
Right.
So literally, they're the longest
That's
streak.
tough.
It's tough. So I can love them, and I can love the Padres at the same time. So those are kind of our 2 teams. So we joke, both of us, that if the other was a Dodgers fan, it wouldn't have worked. Because both teams, the Dodgers are the enemies.
Man, so you should, when you come back, because we talked about what you're doing this time, we have to go to Trash Pandas game.
Yes, the Angels Trash Pandas.
Yeah. So which is the AA team in Huntsville, Alabama.
Yeah.
Did you know I grew up a Dodgers fan?
Uh-oh.
I know.
So did my mom, actually.
So this is what happened. I can't claim it now because I was a big baseball player growing up, and all of my friends were Braves fans, because if you think about it, in the sort of late 70s, early 80s, the only there was only like a couple of channels, and
Yeah.
TBS was on. So you watch the Braves, and you could drive to the game from here. It's 2.5 hours to Atlanta. So everybody I knew, everybody is an Atlanta Braves fan. And spoiler for everybody I know, shocker, I'm a contrarian with a lot of things.
Yeah, there you go.
And I'm like, I'm just not. And the Braves at that time were the NL West. That was in that wacky alignment. So all the teams we would see were it was the Padres and the Astros and the Dodgers. Who else was in the NL West?
Giants.
The Giants. So that was in the days of like Steve Garvey and Davey Lopes and all those. And so I was just like, oh, I'll just be an LA Dodger fan.
Yeah.
Just as a contrarian. I just kind of, as I've grown, I don't watch any baseball anymore. Football is sort of dominated.
Yeah.
And then I played college basketball. Then I was basketball. But my fandom around the University of Alabama and their sports,
Sure.
I just don't think we have enough fandom in our body to spread it around passionately as much.
Yeah.
So like I grew up a Miami Dolphins fan.
Okay.
I tried at some point to like the Saints. I tried to like the Falcons. I've tried to like the Titans. And it's like, I guess I'm just going to like the Dolphins if I have to like somebody.
Yeah, that's all right. They're fun.
Well, sports is good. It's great to have that in common.
It's we've gotten the opportunity to go to a lot of fun. Like we love baseball. We've both been to World Series, but when we were kids, you went to the Padres, I went to the Angels. My ended up better than hers.
Right.
But we've went to the Olympics in 2012 in London. So we got to see events. We went to Wimbledon at the London Olympics. We've seen NCAA men's basketball championship, then the Final Four into the championship. Just some fun sports things.
Those are great memories.
Yeah. We were actually really big LA Galaxy MLS fans when it was first when Landon Donovan and David Beckham were on the team. It was just starting, so we had season tickets. We were in the supporters section called the Angel City Brigade. We were like the only two white people, really. Well, actually, our friend Hunter too, and Nate. We were all there, and everybody else. We learned a lot more Spanish. I learned a lot of words that we can't repeat here.
Right.
But those were some fun games.
Let's stay on we're going to talk about a different kind of love now. Dan Templin.
Yes.
Your business partner, who I guess I've probably met Dan in probably 2004 or some, whenever my first. And Dan is a very unique guy. And what's his major? Do you remember what his major is?
His major was biology.
Biology. But he was like some weird, they did like biochemistry.
Yeah, biochemistry. And he was one paper away from having a PhD in biochemistry.
Right.
But he had done this this trial of something with fruit flies, and something happened where it got the colors of the eyes were different than they were supposed to be, so something in the trial messed up, and he was gonna have to redo it. And he's like, I can't do it. And he was just sick of being alone in a lab.
That is so funny.
So he gave that up and came back over to the insurance industry.
I have when I talked about the way I feel about your mom, kind of the tears that came to my eyes, it's a very different but similar feeling with Dan.
Yeah.
It's hard to describe really, but it's a feeling of love.
100%.
And you guys are very close because of the family dynamic.
Yeah.
If you had to describe Dan, how would you describe Dan Templin?
Well, you said a word you said earlier, contrarian. Yeah. It's a good word. And it's from a contrarian of love. Like he comes to it he always has a unique perspective. Mm-hmm. And maybe sometimes the words that come out aren't always it's not always how he intended it to come out. But when everybody who I've ever met who gets to know him on a deeper level, once you understand really like what that's coming from, it's 100% because it's coming from the right place.
Right.
And that's just how he is. So I would say he is very intelligent. Mm-hmm. Like his intelligence is off the charts. Yeah. He will, hear one thing one time and remember it forever. And I wish I could bottle that up. That's definitely I think a unique gift that he has. But he's very thoughtful. He's somebody who is always looking for how can he create opportunities for the people that he loves. Mm-hmm. I think that's close to what his personal why is. We went through kind of a a why exercise. So that's his driving factor is like how can he create things for the people that he loves. And once you know that, it's like okay.
It's interesting. I found myself over the years. Dan will call occasionally. He's one of the few people that leaves a long voicemail.
He does.
And I found myself to never be dismissive because, sometimes you're busy, you get a voicemail. There's a couple of times, and I mean, this goes back probably over a decade, where something's happened in my life. I'm like, wait a second. Let me go back to something. And there's something that Dan mentioned. Here's a good example. Early on in True, real early, Dan, we were just talking what they said, it would be kind of cool if we just had some kind of like inspirational speaker or it's like something not insurance-y, but sometimes people just need to be inspired and motivated. And this was, we've had a bunch of those now, right?
Yeah.
But I was like, yeah, okay. But I was so focused on sort of collaboration, insurance knowledge, getting smarter.
Yep.
And then 2020 happened and it shook the world up and then we're doing all these virtual speakers. And I just reflected back and I was like, man, Dan really asked for this like 2 years ago,
That sounds about right.
Yeah. There's just a lot of love for Dan.
Yes.
So let's jump back in the.
Also, he loves the Miami Dolphins, by the way. I don't want to forget that. So next time you talk to him.
Does he really?
Dan Marino, he grew up, Dan Temple and Dan Marino loves. I don't know how much he follows him anymore, but.
Well, I do a little. The reason I love them, because this is probably dating myself 1980. I'm making this up, 82, whatever years was when I was a youngster into sports.
Yeah.
And it just so happened that they had a bunch of Alabama players. So they had a guy named Tony Nathan, who was a running back. Dwight Stevenson was their center. Don McNeil was a safety. And then they had like Bob Baumhauer, another B last name, they had like 5 or 6 ex-Alabama players.
Wow.
So it was just like, and because we're in the South, they would be on TV a fair amount.
Got it.
And I loved Tony Nathan back then. He was a running back. That's the sole reason I started following them. And now it's kind of cool because Tua is the quarterback.
Yep.
And somebody else Mika Fitzpatrick, they just signed Mika Fitzpatrick from the Steelers.
Yeah, he just moved.
And so when I watch the NFL football now, it's basically I'm watching
Alabama
players, or if there's somebody on my fantasy football team, which I just can't break. I can't break fantasy football. It's been a part of my life now. Do you do fantasy football?
I do fantasy football.
The first year I was in a fantasy football league was 1992.
Wow.
It was in college. It might have been 3. It was probably 2. And the commissioner had to get the USA Today, write down all the stuff, and mail. You actually got a letter.
Wow.
with the results.
That's awesome.
That is crazy. Okay, let's get to. We got to get to some more modern times. So, Britt, how far are we in?
We are.
We're going to do a time check. Well, he'll tell us. We have to film a Tuesday in a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Oh, look how fast time goes by.
It does.
So, current status of today. You're running Intrepid,
California.
I always just have to stop and think. I don't know why I do that. How many team members do you guys have?
We have 26 team members right now.
Wow. Can you believe that?
It's crazy. We just did our, we have Intrepid, California, but we have 6 or 7 of our staff live outside of the state. So we just last month flew everybody in. We did a day and a half. We kind of modeled it after like a semi-true event where we did cocktail reception, things like before, full day of event, morning, and then we're gone. It was really cool to have everybody come in person.
I would like to go on record as saying I want to be invited to the next Intrepid days.
Okay.
And I don't need to do anything. I just want to come hang out.
We're looking for an MC. No,
I will do anything to come, whether it's just be there. I'll also, if Val gets to come, it'll probably mean it'll increase the chance of getting invited if Val comes.
Yes, absolutely.
So Val will come.
The invitation is there. Yeah.
And we'll hang out. So what did you guys do because you guys are fully remote, like there's no office.
Fully remote. So we actually, we had a keynote speaker this year. We brought in Maura Thomas.
Oh, I
love Maura. I hope she doesn't feel like I'm a stalker. But after she went through, we brought her into I think it was Virtual Insanity last year.
Correct.
Or Virtual Learning Academy. And it really hit home as she talked about attention management. So like personally in my life, like I turned off all my notifications. I tried to be more present. I'm still a work in progress, but we read her book, Attention Management, on the team, and then she actually ran a virtual action lab, which is one of the services that she offers for our team. It was really cool, and we're in the. It was only a few weeks ago, so we're kind of in the phase right now of how are we going to intrepidize and operationalize the communication guidelines. Because my ultimate goal is that, like, in these industry events, there's this like badge of busyness. I think actually she might talk about that, or I've heard about that from others too. And like I don't want my team to have that badge.
Yeah.
That's just not a badge that I'm proud. I don't want my team to be proud to oh yeah, I answer my phone at baseball games 24/7. Like I want them to be able to do their work at work and be able to do their personal lives in personal time. So I'm trying to model that behavior myself.
Well, I have to ask you a question about. Well, first of all, let me just tell you, Maura is one of the unique individuals that's come into the network, and you just know she's going to be around as long as we're around, as long as she's doing what she's doing or something different.
Yeah,
and we're here. She's so good at something that's, I talk about it all the time, I think because I need it more than anyone. You know, I've taken my notifications off of my email right on my phone.
Yep.
And it's amazing how long it takes you to, like, it didn't matter the first 2 weeks. I still looked at it all the time. And I'm stuck to this phone so much that it's finally starting to, like, having the notification works. But the first time she talked, and you've asked this question twice, you're like, listen, are you telling me I need to get rid of my dual screens?
My screens.
How are you doing with that?
So her follow-up there is when you have two screens in support of one activity, it's okay.
Right.
And that's what I just want to make sure we're driving home. So I have adopted that. Like, I no longer have my email on one screen and my work on the other. Whatever thing I'm doing. But a lot of the work that we do, having two monitors, having a spreadsheet if it's up for a budget, and then you have something else, you have an agency management system, you're doing one thing at once, it's really great for that.
Yeah.
So I'm doing better. I have turned my Outlook off, if Maura's listening.
Yeah.
I have turned my Outlook off on my second screen, and I'm encouraging my team. And I did actually have to take her advice, and I wound up having to shut the first monitor off.
Yeah.
Because you sneak it.
It's there.
It's there. You're like, oh, I'm just going to sneak it. So after a couple of weeks, then I kind of gave myself permission to turn it back on, but I did have to do that.
It's interesting, this hustle and grind culture that is, you're right, it's like a badge of honor with a lot of people. And it's this weird balance between, this is going to be rambling. It's this weird balance between you want to succeed, right? And you want to be productive. Well, I'm just the type of people that we're kind of around, right?
Yeah.
Business owners, entrepreneurs. Yeah. You want family time. You want to be present. And your identity creeps into being driven because of the work. Like, that's who a lot of people, like, I own a business. Let me just talk about myself because it's easy. I can't assume other people, but you're identified as like, I'm the president of True or the founder of True. And every event we have, the experience has to be perfect, and you want things like this to happen, and you become kind of obsessed with it, and then that obsession ties you back to the very, like, this device for me, it ties me back to it. And I'm thankful for Maura with us, and I was kind of saying, she's so good at understanding what's going on. It's one of the rare times where you're like, oh, that person can actually help me.
Yes.
Not just inspiring or motivating, she can actually give you tactical ways to improve.
Yes.
So that's cool that you had her in person.
It was virtual.
It was virtual.
Didn't have the budget for in person, but we had.
Well, when people are really good, they're expensive.
Yeah. Well, worth the weight in gold.
Yeah. If you have any, actually, I mentioned to someone at Patriot the other day, one of the executives, I was like, she would be Patriot, a good person to bring in.
Yes, 100%. I think she'd be a really wise strategic investment for us at Patriot.
So, what do you? So you've got 26 team members.
Yes.
Dan's your partner in the business. Family's doing well. You're in paradise in Carlsbad, the best weather in the world. What kind of motivates you still to want to succeed, to have a drive, still have that entrepreneurial spirit? Like what's motivating you these days?
That's a really good question, Scott. And I I kind of have this weird outlook where I'm pretty young, but I'm used to being like the youngest person in the room wherever I am in the business world. And that is like very much not the case anymore. Right. Like I think I'm like median age at a tree event probably now is probably around 37. So it's kind of what used to drive me was like proving myself and like, proving that I deserve to have a seat at the table, even though, despite my age. And now that's not really what defined me for so long. You kind of grow out of that just naturally, right? So I'm kind of trying to figure that out, I think, right now. But I think what drives me now is I'm really trying to focus and figure out how to balance that organically growing, successful, great agency that everybody wants to work at with not creating a culture of burnout. So we're figuring that out right now. But what's driving me right now, like this year, next year, is that creating kind of that oasis of like, how do we have the company we want to work for and be able to not do it, at the cost of other things.
I would maybe, I don't know. I was going to say we're at the boathouse later. We'll talk about it, but there's going to be kids everywhere. I would really like to dig into that with you because obviously you've been around the whole time of True. You get that's culturally kind of what we're doing as well. Like it's relationships and collaboration, and it's really more relationship. Collaboration has a work tone to it. It's like, you want to have moments like this where you can actually just enjoy life. And I've noticed more and more, man, that I think when you get to a certain level in your career, and listen, I think worked my whole life to prove whatever, like grew up really poor, a little bit trailer. We'll go out there later today, maybe this morning. It was almost like a scrapping. I need to prove I don't want to be poor ever again. I want to make enough money kind of thing. And then there's selfishly probably with some ego around creating something, right? And boy, you get to this time now where I get, like I'm 55 now, and people, you're going to think this is ridiculous, but people look to me for advice and wisdom. And but the inside of your own head, right? And
so you're imposter syndrome.
It's even if it's not, it probably is imposter. I hate words like personal branding and imposter syndrome because I'm contrarian.
Okay,
but it probably is that. Or it's just a weird, like, if like I want to make sure that I'm giving good advice, or sometimes giving advice is sometimes the best advice is to go figure it out for yourself. But much like your whole life's been, I'm the youngest, and all of a sudden now you're like, wait a second, I'm not the youngest.
Yeah,
it's been very much a kind of a similar thing with me, which is like, so am I supposed to act as if,
right?
And it's this weird dynamic, and you do realize you want to enjoy. And I would love to dig into that. Like, how do you build an uber successful organization with a culture of kindness and love and humility and family? Because it's definitely not impossible, but it's certainly hard.
Because I think the common like business will teach you that there's a cost to it. And, you want to maximize everything. You want to maximize your employees. You want to maximize everything that you're doing. But I think there's a difference between maximize and optimize. Like there's an optimal point where what I mean is, if you can have, a business that's making 35% profit margin, is that business creating more sustainable, more happy, more productive employees than a business that's at 38%.
Right.
And you may actually have more total dollars at 35% than you would, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
That's, and those are just kind of examples, but that's the optimization part.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just about, in the past, I've always been about maximize. And maybe there's an optimum where you hit a law of diminishing returns.
I realized lately, and this is how valuable thinking time is. Because truly now, and I really believe this is not me, you would know and nobody knows I'm not going to be lazy at all, but having a handful of great ideas a year is so valuable that you can we can be busy, 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 work, 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 productive, 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 and simply blaze by the handful of ideas that are transformational.
Yeah.
And, I've tried to, like right now I have a no-call Wednesdays on my schedule. And like I've got 2 calls this Wednesday, but it's a crazy time. And I give myself license to have excuses.
Yeah.
You can't have too many though, because when you start having an excuse,
It'll chip away. Yeah.
it chips away. But it's amazing. My time when I am, and what I'm doing those days is mostly calling people, just catching up with the people, working on projects, or thinking, right? And when I say thinking, it's not like I'm eating a sandwich, just sitting there or watching TV, but it's like either working on a project, or sometimes it is kind of puttering around, just sort of just marinating on something. And I think when you get to a point like we have in our careers, I think that's a lost art, science, whatever it's going to be, is just to have some time to go, you know what? Let me spend a couple of days thinking about how to create this culture that I want.
Yeah. Well, I think we've talked about Cal Newport's book, Deep Work, and maybe I think so.
Can I tell you that I may get to meet Cal Newport soon?
That would be so.
So continue your thought, and I'll share it with you.
So as he, part of that book is he goes through so many examples of you need that time to do something totally different than what your regular job is, and the ideas, the things that you learn during that time, and the human brain isn't intended to just go from thing to thing to thing to thing and jump around. Like, if you want to work on those, important but not urgent items, you have to give yourself space, not too much space. Like, you can't have 8 hours of just thinking time, or your mind's going to wander. So after I read that book, and I've been working a lot with an executive coach on this. With Dean Savoca from the True Network as well. And so we created, for what works for me is I have what I call my project time and my triage time. So what I do is, like, my project time is kind of my deep work time, where I'm either thinking or I'm working on something or whatever. And I've got 2 buffers of time, what I call triage. It's kind of like my do all the little crap that kind of I need to do to just make myself, to get it off my mind. And then I have like an hour to an hour and a half of like uninterrupted work time. And I do it maybe once or twice per week right now. But man, those couple hours a week, it's amazing how much work you can drive, how much strategic objectives you can drive through that.
It's so cool. These are the kind of conversations I think that fuel me, because you can get inside your own head.
Yes.
Well, we all do. That's where we live. But the interesting, I'm almost like a creative trapped in a business world a little bit. Really. So actually, for me, the wandering time is actually pretty good. So for me to have 4 or 5 hours, 6 hours of, and I do get distracted sometimes, but the ideas are like these muses, these fairies that are kind of in the air. And I think like they're there for anybody to grab, right? And you could grab one, but if you don't do something with it, you have to let it go. And it's back out in the atmosphere, it's in the world. And there's this thing where you have an idea, but then you have to capture it and you have to write it down and you have to execute it. Liz Freyer probably, in one of her things she said to me many years ago, this is back in our study group days, where she said something like, stop talking and planning about these things and just do it. Because I was very like plan, talk.
Yeah.
And she's very just like full steam ahead.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. And I think anyway, Cal Newport, let me get back to this. David Epstein, who spoke at Owners Meeting last year, he and Cal are friends. And I keep in touch with David a little bit. And he said, he said, you ever come to the DC area? And I said, I need to, because Marty McCary's a friend of mine and he's invited me up recently. I said, so I need to get up there. He said, I said, grab Marty, I'll grab Cal Newport and we'll go to dinner. And I was like, what world is Scott Smith living in? I'm going to have dinner with Marty McCary, David Epstein, and Cal Newport.
It's a power group.
Am I the court jester in this? I feel like I'm juggling, like telling jokes at the table. But that's the part of the cool thing about True and you and all the people that have just made me smarter, right? Just the accountability when you're surrounded yourself with smart people. It's really cool. All right, we're going to have to wrap up soon.
Yes.
We have to prepare. We have to flip the studio.
Yes.
Brett, producer extraordinaire over there. I want to make sure that, since we talked so much about people we loved, we talked about your mom, A little bit about you. A little bit about your kids, Dan, Lauren. Is there anybody that we've missed?
Well, geez, who am I going to forget? I'm going to forget someone now.
I know.
Call me after the podcast, right?
It's my fault, by the way. By the way, if you're in the Kacura family, we forgot you it's just because.
Well, I mean, I would say, like, I really have, like, my mom is my mom, but Pam, Dan's mom, is like my other mom.
Yeah.
Right. So I think I'm kind of a mix a little bit between the two of them. Pam is like very entrepreneurial. She started our business. Her husband was the Northwestern GA.
Yeah.
That was kind of how she got started in it. But she's, I would be remiss to go through kind of a thing about myself, because a lot of who I am is developed from her.
Oh, that's lovely.
And the others, I would say, because I met Lauren so young, my in-laws are it's like they become part of your family.
Oh yeah.
And I've known them, almost half my life at this point. So, especially like my sister-in-law and my mother-in-law and my father-in-law they're kind of other people in our lives who are mentors and kind of.
I love that. Well, family's weird because, like, I've gone through all these various sort of mission statements in my life and other these things, and it used to be sort of like family first, or I love my family. When you're ranking your priorities,
right?
So I just went to this thing where what are my priorities, right? What should I be spending my time on? Was what I was getting at. Number one was my health, because I can't do anything else without my health.
Yep.
I was not spending the time I needed to allocate to that.
Yep.
And number two was spending time with the people I love. I started out with spending time with family, and then I was going to do friends, and I was like, wait a second. Like, I don't really want to spend time with all my family. Like,
right.
I love my family.
Right.
And
it's unconditional love is different.
Unconditional love. And they're family members of mine who may or may not make it to this part of the podcast, who I would do anything for.
Yep.
But I would not want to spend like 6 weeks with them.
Right.
There are people that I love that are friends that I would I'm not going to say I love them more, but we have a deeper bond. It's really cool when you can have a family like you have that, boy, there's just admiration and love and respect, not just for your family, but for Lauren's family and then the Templin family.
Yep.
It's like, a little village.
It is.
That's brought us this loving, smart man that we have today. We left out a bunch of stuff, so we'll just have to eventually, in like 5 years, we're going to start circling back.
Oh, okay.
And doing part 2.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea if we can make it, Britt.
Yeah.
All right. Alan Kacura, or as I said in my podcast, Elaine Kacura.
Yes. You got the name. Kacura is a tough name. So we didn't even get into where Kacura comes from. See, that's the next one. I'll tell you about how I'm a Native American Jew. I'll tell you about that.
Wow.
Next time.
So here's where I don't make an inappropriate joke, because I would normally come up with a name that was combining the two, and it would offend somebody.
Yes.
I'm not going to do it.
Good. See,
I'm getting better.
You're getting better.
All right. Alan, thanks for hanging out, man.
Thank you, Scott.
True love.
True love.
Hands up, heads down, shake it off.